Wayne Spooney here. I got a breakdown video for you about JD Davison and his impressive work in the Summer League, the 53rd pick. Led the Summer League in assists. I saw a stat that he was second all-time in assists per game in the Summer League. Who knows if that's true? I'm not even sure they tracked Summer League stats 20 years ago. I don't even know it existed 20 years ago. But nonetheless, JD Davison did a ton of impressive things in Summer League, whether he was pushing the ball in transition, pushing the ball in semi-transition to find open shooters, or hitting up his best friend, Cabin Jelly, for a lob, like you see on this play here. But what I was most impressed by with JD Davison is actually how he learned throughout the Summer League. This was a guy we knew was going to come in and make mistakes, but he showed me he's going to take this seriously, he's going to study the game, and he's going to correct those mistakes. And I think that's probably the thing, other than his athleticism, that most bodes positively for his future as a Boston Celtic. So what I'm going to do is break down, got 3 segments here for you, both have 2 plays. The first play will be a time when JD Davison screwed up later on in the Summer League, a time when he was in a similar position and did the right thing. And I think that's a great way to show his growth as he played these 5 games in Summer League. So the first thing we're going to talk about is JD Davison's pullout game. Let's call it his escape dribble game. Yeah, there we go. His escape dribble game. So let's just roll this clip here. And Davison, you're going to see, we're going to run a little set with, a little drag screen by Cabin Jelly, running it for Begarin. Begarin's going to go low. And then Davison's just going to flick the ball over to Cabin Jelly, Cabin Gale. I'm going to pronounce his name about 30 different ways. So I apologize in advance. And it's a quick little pitch back, and then they're going to run a pick and roll here, which is a set the Celtics ran about 1 billion times in Summer League. That was their best play, was the Cabin Gazelle, JD Davison pick and roll here. This one does not go so well. So you'll see Cabin Gazelle does not hit Davidson's man with a particularly good screen. So he's going to come through pretty clean, and he is already up on Davison. He has absolutely no time to make a decision. He has no advantage. And Camagelli's guy comes up and traps. What you're going to see here from JD Davison is inexperience. So when I pause it here, right when Davison gets to about the nail, you'll see there is nothing doing on this play. This is going absolutely nowhere. You can see Begarin's guy is helping on the lob to Camagelli, so that's not there. Broderick Thomas's guy is in a perfect position where he can guard Brody Thomas if the pass gets kicked over to him. And really, if you look, JD Davison doesn't even really have a line to him. Or if Davison can somehow get it to Begarin, he's either going to pick that pass off or he's going to be there to contest very quickly. And you see that have to be a really long looping pass from Davison over to Begarin. And I just don't see that happening. And he probably can't even see it. He's got 2 guys in his face here. So the one thing JD Davison should absolutely not do is pick up his dribble and hold it out in front of him with 2 defenders in his face. Now I say that because guess what he does? He picks up his dribble and holds it right out in front of his face. It gets knocked away, and the Bucks Summer League team is going the other way. What should he have done there? I just laid out that nobody's open. Hauser in the corner wasn't open either. Sometimes the best thing you can do as a point guard, especially you've got 12 seconds still on the shot clock, is escape dribble. Just back it out. Get another screen. Run another action. Live to play another day, because the worst thing that can happen is a live ball turnover up high with nobody back, and this is an easy Bucks 2 on the other end. Now, again, like I said, JD was learning on the job, man, and he did such a good job of learning from these mistakes throughout. So we're going to get some little screening action up top here for Davison. He's going to almost pump fake into a travel, but he does manage to get it over to Justin Jackson, who kicks it right back. Davidson's going to work, and Cabin Gazelle is going to come up here and set a screen. And Davidson's going to kind of work his way. See, Kenny Lofton Jr. doesn't get up high with the trap, but he is in this sort of middle position where he's guarding the quick short roll pass to Cabangeli. but also helping the trail man get over to Davison. So they're going to kind of soft double over here in the corner. Look, there's nothing there. I'm going to pause it right here. He can't loop this pass deep into the corner, and I apologize. Damon Stoudemire was getting interviewed, so I've just thrown myself up there in place of him. So the screen's a little small. There's nothing I can do about that. He can't loop the pass. So I think the corner shooter is Brody Thomas. Justin Jackson needs to come over to the strong side and help. And he starts to, but he doesn't do it very quickly. So there's really nothing for Davison when he's got this kind of soft trap. And Begarin's sort of in no man's land underneath the basket, and Cabs has, about 4 different Grizzlies covering him underneath, defending the lob. So what does Davison do? He sees there's absolutely nothing. Last time he picked up the ball and held it in front of himself so the defenders could easily strip it. Not this time. Boom, escape dribble. Perfect. And what does that escape dribble do? It sends Lofton running to try to find his man to guard, because the double has gone nowhere. They're not going to get a turnover. They see JD's pulled it back, and JD has great recognition here. Once he sees Lofton go, Beggs, who has been a great off-ball mover all summer league, has this nifty little cut underneath and give JD Davison some help. He had dribbled himself into not the best position, but ultimately with that escape dribble, it bought Beggs some time to make that nifty little cut. He gets a nice feed from Davison underneath the hoop. He's going to get blocked here. But overall, I'm not worried about how the play finished. I'm worried about how Davison manipulated and read the defense. And just from game 1, game 2, to games 3, 4, and 5, he looked like a different player at times with his ability to read and understand. Admittedly, summer league defenses, so not the most complicated thing, but baby steps here, right? He's the 53rd pick. This next segment, what we're going to talk about is how Davidson's manipulating both defenders and really the entire defense on the pick and roll. The big thing I noticed with JD is he is really right hand dominant. But again, as these summer league games rolled on, he started to use his left a little more often, seemed to get a little more comfortable with it. And I mean, that's a very learnable skill, so I don't think that's a hamper to his long-term outlook. But it's good he seemed to recognize that they're overplaying me to the right, so I've got to come back to the left at times. And so here's what I mean about the bad side. Ridiculous, Cabs is going to get the rebound, and it's going to be a little flip to Davison. He takes 2 dribbles, 1.5 dribbles with his left hand here, and he almost like fumbles the ball trying to get it over to his right. And a foundational thing about basketball is you want to dribble the ball in the hand closest to the sideline because it protects the ball from the defender, right? And Davison here, I mean, it's not that big of a deal when you're this far away that he's dribbling it in his right hand as he's crossing the timeline, but it does just go to show he's not super comfortable with that left hand. So he comes over, once he puts it in the right, he will not touch the ball with his left hand for this entire possession, and he dribbles the ball a Dennis Schroeder-esque number of times during this possession. So this is going to be, surprise, surprise, a cabin jelly pick and roll with JD Davison. It's going to be probably maybe a moving screen. Davison went too quick, so Cabs had to slide his feet. He doesn't get called for it. He does make really good contact. It actually ends up being a nice screen because maybe it was moving, but that's okay. And Davison, look, he's got the trailing defender coming to him. The help man's actually in really good position. Play and drop, which is probably what you want to do against JD Davison. He's right on that free throw line. Davison could slip a pass to Cavs, but it's not really going to go anywhere because his defender could just slide right over. So what you need to do at this point is manipulate the defense. Create an advantage. Either open up the lob or get yourself a look, or drag in some of these help defenders you see shading off the corner shooters. So Davids is going to throw us kind of a nifty little in and out right-handed dribble. It does nothing. I mean, it really doesn't do much. I think Cavs' defender is still in pretty good position, and this is going to work. But, this is not high-level pick and roll manipulation. He goes too quick. He doesn't get the lob to open up at all. Like I said, he's not moving the defense with this dribble move much. He slows down and allows the trail guy to get back to him and contest. But the trail guy does a really bad job of that and ends up fouling him. So it works out all right. Like, it's not the worst move in the world. It's just really basic. And again, it really shows how right-hand dominant he is. As it, you know, try a crossover to your left, maybe. Well, or try what I'm about to show you that he does later on in this same game. So he's been shaded to the right basically all summer league. If you go back to that game one, the Heat especially just forced him left, and that was by far his worst game, I thought. So what we're going to get here is Davison learning. Look at how he manipulates both his defender, the trailing defender, and the big in the pick and roll coverage, and what results in this play. So there's going to be this kind of faux pick and roll action with Broderick Thomas. That goes absolutely nowhere. And then JD Davison is like, come on, Kevin Gazelle, let's get up here, my man. Let's do this thing. Again, it's the Celtics Summer League bread and butter. Cavs, Davison, pick and roll. Boom, high screen and roll. Great pick from Kabengele. He gets him nice and square, creates some room. But look at how high Lofton is. The trailer's right there. This guy does a much better job than the last defender of staying glued to Davison. Again, might I add, look at what hand this is in when he starts the possession. Boom, crossover to the left. Boom, dribbles through. Boom. Okay, we are at a point here where he's at the top of the key, where he needs to manipulate these defenders in some way, or he's going to get stuck like he did on that very first play I showed you. So what does he do? This is the Marcus Smart special. You put the trailing defender in jail. Boom, hits him with the booty. What that does is not only completely eliminates that defender from the play, more or less, it also slows Davison's pace down to allow Kabengele to get deeper. And that means Lofton, you can see here, right in the middle of the paint, has to make a decision. Is he going to come up and help on Davison, or is he going to stay on the roll man? And you can see he kind of does neither. He's just sort of in no man's land. So Davison just rises up for an easy floater. And frankly, if he missed it, Cavs is in perfect rebounding position. He was a summer league rebounding monster, so I wouldn't be surprised if he got that. It's a nice play, and it's just beautifully done by Davison, a guy who barely was dribbling with his left hand. And this is all lefty dribbles, little in and out, bang with the body, and then rise up when no one is there to contest that little floater. And that's some high level pick and roll operation for JD Davison. And, you know, starts to get kind of interesting when you see stuff like that from him. Last section here that I want to talk about is him reading the help on the pick and roll, right? So that's probably the most important thing, probably the last thing that comes for any pick and roll ball handler. You just are now seeing Tatum getting really good at reading the whole floor and not just sort of the two-man action in the pick and roll. And I don't expect Davison to be doing that at a high level, but he was doing that at a higher level than I did expect when I heard about him coming out of the draft, because I will be honest, I knew less than absolutely nothing about him when we drafted him, but just that he was an athlete, and that's it. So he's got more to his game than that, and I'm starting to get excited for what his potential could be in the future. So yet again, this set, and this is in the Bucks game, so we're going backwards a game or two here. It's going to be a Cavs is going to set the pick on the right shoulder of the defender. He doesn't get a lot of them. It's not a great pick. Allows the trail defender to kind of stick with Davison. And you can see this is a very similar position that he was in that first possession I showed you where he had the turnover, he picked it up. So this time, he doesn't pick up his dribble. This is a much better decision than holding the ball in front of you and having them strip it and pick it off. Yet, this is also a pretty bad decision. So he's just going to kind of flick this thing up to Cavs. It goes absolutely nowhere. He's covered by like $3, and it's just not a particularly good pick and roll possession from JD Davison, and that's okay. But here's what he missed. So when you are operating on the pick and roll, not only do you have to read these two guys that are defending the primary action, you also have to read the help. This is not a particularly difficult read because Davison is looking downhill here. And he should see Hauser's defender here and Begarone's defender here. And he should also see that when he takes this dribble and gets to the nail, there are 4 defenders in the paint and only 1 white jersey. Someone, maybe multiple people, have to be open. And I don't know how he doesn't see Beggs in this corner here. I mean, he is looking in that direction. He's gotta find Beggs in that corner. I mean, nobody's within 10 feet of him. And I mean, that's a very makeable pass. He could rise up, fire that pass. He probably needs to read it a little earlier, but that's okay. Like right around maybe in this position, he could see Beggs taking that corner and rifle a pass over, or he could keep going and get all the way to the baseline and fire the pass from the baseline. That's also something Nash used to do that all the time. You'll see a lot of the better ball handler and playmakers do things like that. So there's a lot of options there to find Begarone wide open in the corner. He does exactly none of them and just goes kind of for a bailout. I'll huck it at the rim and see what happens, which, let me stress, is much better than what he did on that first play where he held it out for the live ball turnover. So yet again, so we're fast forwarding to the Memphis game, which was just an absolute frankly, summer league masterpiece for whatever the hell that's worth. So this is going to look familiar, a Cabangeli high screen and roll with JD Davison. And now look, he needs to read. First of all, I don't know what Franks or whoever is doing down here to the right. He's setting a pick on his own man. I just truly do not know what he's thinking there. So he's supposed to be spread to the corner. And if he were, and his defender were that in position, well, that would be a very easy pass for JD Davison because it would be strong side help and he could just flick it to Franks for wide open 3. Instead, he's picking no one, picking his man. And I guess, I think that's Franks, or it's maybe not Franks. It's not important. Number 38. What Davidson is reading here, like I said, other than the guys defending the primary action, it are these corner shooters here. And he actually does a really good job of reading the weak side help as it comes to cover Cabangeli as he's going up for that lob. And Davidson anticipates it perfectly, and he goes to hit the corner shooter. That might be Franks. It goes to hit Franks in the corner, who is wide open, and he cuts. Presumably to get the pick from number 38. I don't know what they're thinking. The most important thing, though, is that it's a beautiful read and a great pass from JD Davison. It's just Summer League. That's going to happen. Hey, when that's Danilo Gallinari in the regular season, he's probably going to stay home and he's probably going to make that shot. So when we're evaluating JD Davison, this is a turnover on his stat sheet, but this is not his fault at all. This is a great play, great possession, and something that made me pretty high on what he could be potentially in the future, right? No guarantees. He's got a long way to go. But man, Davison showed me some stuff reading the game, and I expected basically nothing. And luckily, he at least exceeded those expectations. Like Bart Simpson once said, so when I took the test, the answers were stuck in my brain. It's like a whole different kind of cheating. And Davidson showed me and showed the Celtics that he is willing to learn the game. He's willing to figure things out on the fly. And that might just make him a pretty good NBA player. And hell, if he could start making this shot, his ceiling goes from interesting prospect to this guy might have some serious potential. So anyway, that's going to do it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. You know where to find us. Please subscribe and rate and comment and tell us we suck. I'm all of that. Anything. We'll take any publicity is good publicity, they say. So Spoonie out.